It does not matter who you are. There's no exception. There's no exception. You will never be done with this sport. You'll wake up one day and the sport's done with you. Hollywood is that way. Like, some of your favorite actors, they get a little older or something, maybe they slow down, and they'll do an interview. I just haven't seen a script that I like. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm raising my kids. I've been spending some time with my church and family. No, man, they can't get a job. Can't get hired. And that is most definitely one of the bigger and broader examples that you're never done with the business, but you will wake up one day and the business is done with you. You're out. You're a cold product and somebody else has already replaced you, whether you knew it or not. Anybody seems to be aware, if anybody really has known what's going on in MMA, the opposite of a Sandhagen would be a McGregor. And as good of a job as Conor has done, it doesn't make him infallible to the principle and law that I just spoke about. So, Michael Chandler done an interview, said, I'm going to fight Conor McGregor. Now, I love what these two are doing because they don't have a fight. Do you guys know that? Have you guys pieced this together yet? Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler do not have a fight. You've told International Fight Weekend and T-Mobile Arena and June 29th, you've been told all of these things? Call T-Mobile Arena. Ask them. Call Ticketmaster. Try to get a ticket to it. I'm just sharing with you. They don't have a fight. They don't have a bout agreement. They don't have a weight class. They don't have round. They don't have a fight. They don't have licenses within Nevada. They do not have a fight. But Conor went first, and he told the 5 W's. Who, what, when, why, and where. As long as all 5 W's are there, you have a story. You have no story without all 5 W's. Now, the reason I say that is Michael Chandler, very smart, sees what Conor did and then backs him up. It was a lie, but he backed up the lie. So now you have the A corner and the B corner. You got red and blue. You got both principles. That is not something that anyone is likely to then not sign off on, particularly since they don't have anybody else to do it yet, right? Like, these guys got to the market at the right time. They got there first. But you gotta really appreciate what they did there. Chandler didn't know what Conor was going to do. If he would have known what was coming out in that statement, Conor telegraphed it 2 days in advance. Chandler would have put it out just to stick it in Conor's ass had he known. The history of the UFC, Dan, has never let anybody do their own press release. Josh Gross and Ariel Helwani ruined relationships overdoing UFC does their own press releases. That's what I'm here to tell you. Those two don't have a fight. But after this stunt, I would predict for you that they do have one. And when I bring this to you, the question really does become, why is Conor fighting Michael Chandler? And let me just back it up. Why is Conor fighting? And that's a very reasonable question for me to ask. Would you like to know who else asked Conor that? And it was 4 years ago, but would you like to know who else asked him that? The guy with the greatest influence in Conor's career, Coach John Kavanagh, publicly. John Kavanagh publicly stated that he will not be training Conor McGregor again until Conor can come in to his office and answer one question, and that was going to be the question, why are you doing this? Conor said several fights. This was 4 years ago. Guys, that might have been 5 years ago. I even remember where I was. This is a random thought off the top of my head, but it was around the time that Mike Tyson and Roy Jones fought. Remember that Triller event? So whether that was 3, 4, 5, whatever that was, that's when Coach Kavanagh said this. You want to know why I bring it up? Because what do you think? It's very hard to put yourself in Conor's shoes. It's very hard to put yourself in a steel cage with the most barbaric and wide open rule set ever accepted by modern society. In a sport so combative that it is the only sport on the face of the earth that the government has to regulate. I mean, this is one of these things. This does not sound like something that a person that didn't need to do it would do. And it's not about a title. It's not about getting you closer to a title. I don't even see a personal grudge. I know they're going to attempt to say differently. I'm just sharing. Why would he do the fight? And you're going to come down, and I've heard you guys try to answer the question a million times. It was rhetorical when I asked it, at least from your perspective, for the money. But I don't buy that. I don't have an answer. By the way, guys, I don't know why Conor's doing it. I guess for a love of the sport. I guess for that attention. I guess for that purpose. I get for that identity. This is who I am. I think all of those at least play a small role. But it was 4 days before Conor said he was going to fight Manny Pacquiao. Oh, and by the way, His Highness wants to book that fight. Like, that isn't Conor just yapping. And I think it would pay more. There'd be no risk. It'd certainly be easier. It'd certainly be less painful, both in the preparation on the body and at the end of the night when you're going into the ER, like what Manny's going to do with these pillows on his head versus what Chandler's going to do. I mean, I'm just sharing with you that I don't think he's fighting him for the money. And there is an outside chance that Conor is fighting Chandler to exhaust whatever that is so he can go and fight Pacquiao. There's an outside chance. I don't know that I believe it. Or I think he would just go do the Pacquiao. I don't know how much of a bird in the hand he's actually got, but he didn't have one with the UFC either. He could get one, but he didn't have one. Which is why he and Chandler have manufactured this and decided, look, we could be enemies another night. Let's be partners today. Let's strong arm the company and get what it is we're after. So what happens if Conor loses? Because Chandler said, I'm going to beat him and I'm going to end his career. And end his career is very tough talk. Because when a fighter says that about another guy, he's telling you I'm going to injure him. But that's not what Chandler said. It's not what Chandler said. Chandler just said, I'm going to dominate him. I'm going to beat him. He's going to realize this isn't for him anymore. He had a lot of great memories. A lot of great achievements, even more than I had. But he can't beat me, and he can't even come close. And this is going to be the wake-up call that apparently he needs to realize it's time to go do something else. Now, I added a lot of words to Chandler there, but the verbatim, I'm 100%. My quote wasn't spot on, but that message-wise, Michael Chandler tell you, yeah, Chael just said what I was trying to say. And Chandler is right to a degree. I mean, there's a number where Conor can't come back. There is a fight where it is all over. And he might say, oh no, I got one more. I got another suit and I got some fancy lines. Bring me out and we can still sell it. I'm still the top draw. He might be. I don't know that a loss to Chandler, or a dominant loss, or any way that you want to do it, I don't know that would take Conor off his perch of top draw. I mean, Conor's got all 10 spots, all of them. And he's going to lose one of them in this Chandler fight to himself. But I don't think it'll be number one. Or no, I know it won't be number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. But he might get a back end one. Right? He got 7, 8, 9, 10 as well. He might replace number 8. He might replace number 9. So I'm just saying, even as you start to slide, if the only records you're beating are your own records, it's one of those spots where I really don't know what has held up Conor. We heard Sugar Sean speculate on that a couple of weeks ago. But we don't really know what's held up Conor. But it is crystal clear that the desire or the need or the leverage or the motivation is wildly different today in 2024 than it was 2015 through 2020. That's a very fair and accurate observation. So, with a loss to Chandler, what about that would change? And nothing. It's hard enough to get a fight now. Not any easier coming off of a loss. So could it be a career-ending fight? Does Conor have enough goodwill built up to do a situation? Read an interview by Chris Weidman today. He's got one more fight, but he says it's probably going to be my last fight. I mean, I'm just saying, for example, could Conor make that same phone call? They say, hey, I want one more. Let me just get one more. And they, yeah. All of their top stars, their top draws that have made that request, they've respected and honored it for all of them. But you do get a guy with a contract that is so beautiful at times. You gotta have certain projections. It's a meaningful conversation. And I don't think it's a negative one against Conor, by the way. I think it's a compliment to Conor. I think if you break down the map that I just laid out, this isn't about titles. There's nothing personal on this. This isn't about contenderships. This isn't easy. All right, this isn't just about fame and a spotlight. You want to go get locked in there with Michael Chandler? Even if it's for $10 million. Do you want, in the spirit of exposure, for the world to see what would happen to you locked in there with Michael Chandler? Then why are you applying that to Conor McGregor? Man, I'm just sharing for you. If those aren't the reasons, and money isn't the reason, then Conor deserves credit because that's a true competitor. That's what that is. That's a hustler and a grifter and a guy that found a way. And hustlers and grifters, by the way, these are survivors. They remember what it was like. They didn't forget and they want something. I hope Conor tells that story. I want to know what he wants. I'm fascinated by what specifically Conor McGregor wants and why he's fighting Michael Chandler.